Section 98 of the Golden Gems of Life. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Larry Wilson. The Golden Gems of Life by Emory, Adams Allen, and S.C. Ferguson. Section 98. The Bible. The Bible is a book whose words live in the ear like music that can never be forgotten, like the sound of church bells, which the convert hardly knows how he can forego. Its felicities often seem to be things rather than mere words. It is a part of the national mind, and the anchor of national seriousness. The memory of the dead passes into it. The potent traditions of childhood are stereotyped in its verses. The power of all the griefs and trials of man is hidden beneath its words. It is the representative of his best moments, and all that has been around him of the highest and best speaks to him out of his Bible. The Bible is the oldest surviving monument of the springtime of the human intellect. It reveals to us the character and intellect of our great Creator and final Judge. It opens before us the way of salvation through a Redeemer, unveils to our view the invisible world, and shows us the final destiny of our race. God's Word is, in fact, much like God's world, varied, very rich, very beautiful. You never know when you have exhausted all its merits. The Bible, like nature, has something for every class of minds. Look at the Bible in a new light, and straightway you see some new charm. The Bible goes equally to the cottage of the poor man and the palace of the king. It is woven into literature, and it colors the talk of the street. The bark of the merchant cannot sail to sea without it. No ship of war goes to the conflict but the Bible is there. It enters men's closets, mingling in all the grief and cheerfulness of life. The Bible is adapted to every possible variety of taste, temperament, culture, and condition. It has strong reasoning for the intellectual. It takes the calm and contemplative to the well-balanced James, and the affectionate to the loving and beloved John. Not only is this book precious to the poor and unlearned, not only is it the consoler of the great middle class of society, both spiritually and mentally speaking, but the scholar and the sage, the intellectual monarch of the age, bow to its authority. To multitudes of our race it is not only the foundation of their religious faith, but it is their daily practical guide as well. It has taken hold of the world as no other book ever did. Not only is it read in all Christian pulpits, but it enters every habitation, from the palace to the cottage. It is the golden chain which binds hearts together at the marriage altar. It contains the sacred formula for the baptismal rite. It blends itself with our daily conversation, and is the silver thread of all our best reading, given its hue more or less distinctly to book, periodical, and daily paper. On the seas it goes with the mariner as his spiritual chart and compass, and on the land it is to untold millions their pillar cloud by day and their fire column by night. In the closet and in the streets, amid temptation and trials, this is man's most faithful attendant and his strongest shield. It is our lamp through the dark valley, and the radiator of our best light from the solemn and unseen future. Stand before it as before a mirror, and you will see there not only your good traits, but your errors, follies, and sins, which you did not imagine were until you thus examined yourself. If you desire to make constant improvement, go to the Bible. It not only shows the way of all progress, but it incites you to go forward. It opens before you a path leading up and still onward, along which good angels will cheer you, and all that is good will lend you a helping hand. There is no book so well adapted to improve both the head and the heart as the Bible. It is a tried book. Its utility is demonstrated by experience. Its necessity is confessed by all who have studied the wants of human nature. It has wrung reluctant praise even from the lips of its foes. Other books bespeak their own age. The Bible was made for all ages. Uninspired authors speculate upon truths before made known. and often upon delusive imaginations. The Bible reveals truth before unknown and otherwise unknowable. It is distinguished for its exact and universal truth. Time and criticism only illustrate and confirm its pages. Successive ages reveal nothing to change the Bible representations of God, nothing to correct the Bible representations of human nature. Passing events fulfill its prophecies, but fail to impeach its allegations. The Scriptures teach us the best way of living, the noblest way of suffering, and the most comfortable way of dying. A mind rightly disposed will easily discover the image of God's wisdom in the depths of its mysteries, the image of God's sovereignty in the commanding majesty of its style, the image of its unity in the wonderful harmony and symmetry of all its parts, the image of His holiness in the unspotted purity of its precepts, and the image of His goodness in the wonderful tendency of the whole to the welfare of mankind in both worlds. We should use the Scriptures not as an arsenal to be resorted to only for arms and weapons, but as a matchless temple where we delight to contemplate the beauty, the symmetry, and the magnificence of the structure, and to increase our awe and excite our devotion to the Deity there proclaimed. The cheerless gloom which broods over the understandings of men had never been chased away but for the beams of a supernatural revelation. Men may look with an unfriendly eye on that system of truth which reproves and condemns them, but they little know the loss of the world would sustain by subverting its foundations. We have tried paganism, we have tried Mohammedanism, we have tried deism and philosophy, and we cannot look upon them even with respect. The Scriptures contain the only system of truth which is left us. If we give up these, we have no others to which we can repair. End of section 98.
Section number 99 of the Golden Gems of Life. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. The Golden Gems of Life by Emory Adams Allen and S. C. Ferguson. Section 99. Future Life. There are two questions, one of which is the most important, the other the most interesting that can be proposed in language. Are we to live after death? And if we are, in what state? These are questions confined to no climate, creed, or community. The savage is as deeply interested in them as the sage, and they are of equal import under every meridian where there are men. Among the most effectual and most beautiful modes of reasoning that the universe affords for the hope that is within us of a life beyond the tomb, there is none more beautiful or exquisite than derived from the change of the seasons, from the second life that bursts forth in spring in objects apparently dead, and from the shadowing forth in the renovation of everything around us of the destiny which divine revelation calls upon our faith to believe shall be ours. The trees that have faded and remained dark and gray through the long dreary life of winter clothe themselves again with green in the spring sunshine, and every hue speaks of life. The buds that were trampled down and faded burst forth once more in freshness and beauty. The streams break from the icy chains that held them, and the glorious sun himself comes wandering from his far-off journey, giving warmth to the atmosphere and renewed beauty and grace to everything around, and everything we see rekindles into life. At all times and in all places men have contemplated the questions of death and immortality. The one is a stern reality from which they know there is no escaping. Every day they see friends and acquaintances drooping and dying. Their pleasure drives are interrupted by the funeral cortege of strangers. There is not a soul but what in reflective moments has pondered the question of immortality. If they see clearly under the guiding light of Christianity, the future is full of hope to them. It matters but little their present surroundings. If poverty and pain be their lot, they know that rest will come to them later. Those who do not possess this pleasing hope of immortality feel at times a painful longing, a vague unrest. Philosophize as they will, the future is dark and uncertain, and there are times when they would willingly give all they could they but see a beacon light or feel the strong assurance of faith that they would live again. Surely there is tenable ground for this hope. It cannot be that earth is man's only abiding place. It cannot be that our life is a bubble cast up by the ocean of eternity, to float for a moment upon its surface, and then sink into nothingness and darkness forever. Else why is it that the high and glorious aspirations, which leap like angels from the temples of our hearts, are forever wandering abroad satisfied? Why is it that the rainbow and the cloud come over us with a beauty that is not of earth, and then pass off and leave us to muse on their faded loveliness? Why is it that the stars which hold their festival around the midnight throne are set above the grasp of our limited faculties, and are forever mocking us with their unapproachable glory? Finally, why is it that bright forms of human beauty are presented to the view, and then taken from us, leaving the thousand streams of affection to flow back upon our hearts? We are from a higher destiny than of earth. There is a realm where the rainbow never fades, where the stars will be spread out before us like the islands on the bosom of the ocean, and where the beautiful beings that here pass before us like visions will remain with us forever. As death approaches and earth recedes, we do not more clearly see that spiritual world in which we have all along been living, though we knew it not. The dying man tells us of attendant angels hovering around him. Perchance it is no vision. They might have been with him throughout life. They may attend us all through life. Only our inward eyes are dim and we see them not. What is that mysterious expression, so holy and so strange, so beautiful yet so fearful, on the countenance of one whose soul has just departed? May it not be the glorious light of attendant seraphs, the luminous shadow of which rests awhile on the countenance of the dead? End of section 99. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. Section 100 of the Golden Gems of Life. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. The Golden Gems of Life by Emory Adams Allen and S. C. Ferguson. Section 100. Time and Eternity. Why shrinks the soul back on herself and startles at destruction? T is the divinity that stirs within us. T is heaven itself that points out an hereafter, and imitates eternity to man. Eternity, thou pleasing, dreadful thought! Thou, what variety of untried being! Thro' what new scenes and changes must we pass! The wide, the unbounded prospect lies before me, but shadows, clouds, and darkness rest upon it. Addison. Alas! What is man? Whether he be deprived of that light which is from on high, or whether he discards it, he is a frail and trembling creature, standing on time, the bleak and narrow isthmus between two eternities. He sees nothing but impenetrable darkness on the one hand, and doubt, distrust, and conjecture still more perplexing on the other. Most gladly would he take an observation as to whence he has come, or whither he is going. Alas! he has not the means. His telescope is too dim, his compass too wavering, his plummet too short. Nor is that little spot, his present state, one whit more intelligible, since it may prove a quicksand that may sink in a moment from his feet. It can afford him no certain reckonings as to that immeasurable ocean on which he must soon spread his sail, an awful expedition, from which the mind shrinks from contemplating. Nor is the gloom relieved by the outfit in which the voyage must be undertaken. The bark is a coffin, the destination is doubt, and the helmsman is death. Faith alone can see the star which is to guide him to a better land. The hourglass is truly emblematical of the world. As its sands run out at the termination of a given period, it shows that all things must have an end. It shows that man may devise, may even execute, but that ere long time that restless destroyer comes and mows all before him, and leaves naught but a wreck, a barren waste behind him. Surely all will give credence to this who watch the daily dying of cherished hopes, of delightful anticipations. The flame burns brightly at first, but it soon fluctuates, and finally dies without restriction. We must, some time or another, enter on the last year of our life. 50 or 100 years may yet come, and the procession may seem interminable, but the closing year of our life must come. There are many years memorable in history, as in them died men of renown, but the year of our death will be more memorable to us than any. 1815 was a memorable year, for in that Waterloo was fought, but there will be a more memorable year for us, the year in which we fight the battle with the last enemy. That year will open with the usual New Year's congratulations. It will rejoice in the same orchard blossoming, and the sweet influences of spring. It will witness the golden glory of the harvest and the merry makings of Christmas. And yet to us it will be vastly different from the fact that it will be our closing year. The spring grass may be broken by the spade to let us down to our resting place, or, while the summer grain is falling to the sickle, we may be harvested for another world, or while the autumnal leaves are flying in the November gale, we may fade and fall, or the driving sleet may cut the faces of the black tasseled horses that take us on our last ride. But it will be the year in which our body and soul part, the year in which, for us, time ends and eternity begins. All other years fade away as nothing. The year in which we were born, the year in which we began business, the year in which our father died, are all of them of less importance to us than the year of our death. It is only when on the border of eternity that the fleeting period of life is comprehended. Human life, what is it? It is vapor gilded by a sunbeam, the reflection of heaven in the waters of the earth. In youth the other world seems a great way off, but later we feel and realize that it is close at hand. We come, like the ocean wave, to the shore, but scarcely strike the sand before we roll back into forgetfulness, whence we came. In the light of eternity, how vain and foolish appear the contentions and strifes of mankind! Addison most beautifully expresses this thought in these lines: "When I look upon the tombs of the great every emotion of envy dies. When I read the epitaph of the beautiful every inordinate desire forsakes me. When I meet with the grief of parents upon a tombstone, my heart melts with compassion. When I see the tombs of the parents themselves, I reflect how vain it is to grieve for those we must quickly follow. When I see kings lying beside those who deposed them, when I see rival wits placed side by side, or the holy men who divided the world with their contests and disputes, I reflect with sorrow and astonishment on the frivolous competitions, factions, and debates of mankind." End of section 100. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. Section 101 of the Golden Gems of Life. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. The Golden Gems of Life by Emory Adams Allen and S. C. Ferguson. Section 101. The Evening of Life. Old age, serene and bright, and lovely as a Lapland night, shall lead thee to thy grave. Wordsworth. There is a beauty in age. The morning of life may be glowing with the expectations of youth. The noon may be fruitful in endeavors and works. But the evening of life is the time of calm repose and holy meditation. When young and standing where the glow of youthful hopes irradiates the future, how natural to lay out brilliant plans, to form ambitious resolves. How easy it seems to achieve any wished for thing. Wealth, fame, or any temporal good, surely we can attain them. Experience soon shows us the futility of these hopes and plans. Before many milestones are passed in the journey of life, we learn that God, in his wisdom, has so apportioned trial and suffering that it matters little the external surroundings. To all it is full of work and anxieties and painful scenes, and that it is in struggling against these that the best development of power is acquired. It is no wonder that when once confronted by the stern realities of life, we should lose sight of the dreams of youth. Manhood's days are the days of reflection, of judgment, a wise adaptation of means to the end desired, and, if but used aright, we need have little occasion for regret that childhood's days are past. We are no longer children, we are men and women. We are no longer engaged in childish dreams. We are up and doing what God has assigned to us. This is the period of life that we would most willingly see prolonged. But time stops not in its rapid flight. In vain are protests. The sun as swiftly descends to its setting as it rose to its noon. The form that so rapidly matured into one of grace, strength, and manly attributes of character, is bowed by the weight of years. The elasticity of youth gives way to the measured step and careful tread of age, and on the head time sprinkles his snow. It is now that the thoughts of man should assume their most valued characteristics. They can muse over the events of past years. They can contemplate the mysteries of the future. The most momentous period of life is about at hand, that time when they will exchange this life for another. What age can there be more important than this? It is natural for youth to regard old age as a dreary season, one that admits of nothing that can be called pleasure, and very little that deserves the name even of comfort. They look forward to it as in autumn we anticipate the approach of winter, forgetting that winter, when it arrives, brings with it much of pleasure. Its enjoyments are of different kinds, but we find it not less pleasant than any other season of the year. In like manner, age has no terror to those who see it near. But experience proves that it abounds with consolations, and even with delights. The world in general bows down to age, gives it preference, and listens with deference to its opinions. Such reverence must be smoothing to age, and compensate it for the loss of many of the enjoyments of youth. The truth man does not wish to be a child again. In individual experience, how many have wished to live again the past? Could we return, and carry with us our present experience? All would wish to do so, but to go over the same old round we are afraid that the number of those whose life has been so happy that they would wish to live it over again is exceedingly small. Your present experience will remain with you throughout life, and hence old age, as devoid of pleasure as it may appear to us now, we will find that when the passage of years brings us to that point we will not willingly exchange it for any of the stages of life gone by. As there is nothing unlovely in age, when once at its threshold, so death, when viewed in the right spirit, is found to be but the pleasant transition stage to a more glorious and perfect life. From the days of Plato to the present men have doubted and wondered as to the questions of immortality and its nature, but none have approached the question in the right spirit. But what always the result has been the same. Revelation and analogical reasoning both point to the same glorious hope. What then, shall we view it with terror? Ought we not to look forward to it longingly as the final triumph of a well lived life? Though success and fortune may have been ours here, are they anything more or less than the accidental circumstances surrounding an ephemeral existence? In the light of eternity does it make any great difference whether that existence was passed surrounded with the comforts of wealth or struggling for the necessities of life? We are all equal in death. The king and the peasant, the rich and the poor, are all alike in this respect. Surely, that which is thus the common lot of humanity must be for the common good. The universal dread of death is, then, the effect of erroneous habits of thought. It is the entrance to the harbor. We fear not the peaceful rest within. We cannot do better than to cultivate cheerful thoughts in regard to age and death. The one is the beautiful closing scene of earthly life, the other the entrance to life immortal. End of section 101. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. Section 102 of the Golden Gems of Life. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. The Golden Gems of Life by Emory Adams Allen and S.C. Ferguson. Section 102. He who died at Azan. He who died at Azan sends this to comfort all his friends. Faithful friends, it lies, I know, pale and white and cold as snow, and ye say Abdullah's dead, weeping at the feet and head. I can see your falling tears, I can hear your sighs and prayers, yet I smile and whisper this, I am not the thing you kiss. Cease your tears and let it lie. It was mine, it is not I. Sweet friends, what the women lave for its last bed of the grave is but a hut which I am quitting, is a garment no more fitting, is a cage from which at last, like a hawk, my soul hath passed. Love the inmate, not the room, the wearer, not the garb, the plume of the falcon, not the bars which kept him from the splendid stars. Loving friends, be wise and dry straightway every weeping eye. What ye lift upon the bier is not worth a wistful tear. 'Tis an empty sea-shell one, out of which the pearl has gone. The shell is broken, it lies there, the pearl, the all, the soul is here. 'Tis an earthen jar whose lid Allah sealed the while it hid the treasure of his treasury. A mind that loved him, let it lie. Let the shard be earth's once more, since the gold shines in his store. Allah glorious, Allah good, now the world is understood, now the long, long wonder ends. Yet ye weep, my erring friends, while the man whom ye call dead is unspoken bliss instead. Lives and loves you, lost it true, but such a light as shines for you. But in the light ye can not see of unfulfilled felicity. In enlarging paradise lives a life that never dies. Farewell, friends, yet not farewell. Where I am ye, too, shall dwell. I am gone before your face, a moment's time, a little space. When ye come where I have stepped, ye will wonder why ye wept. Ye will know, by wise love taught, that here is all, and there is not. Weep awhile, if ye are fain, sunshine still must follow rain. Only not at death, for death, now I know, is that first breath which our souls draw when we enter life, which is all life's centre. Be ye certain all seems love, viewed from Allah's throne above. Be ye stout of heart and come bravely onward to your home. La Allah illa Allah, yea, thou love divine, thou love alway. He that died at Azan gave this to those who made his grave. End of section 102. Recording by Linda Marie Nielsen, Vancouver, BC. End of The Golden Gems of Life by Emory Adams Allen and S.C. Ferguson.